In this video we shall discuss about what are the various steps that we have to take it whenever actually process enters into an exception, and also when the process actually leaves the exception. So what are the various things that we should just look into it. So first actually step, whenever an exception is raised, it could be any of the exception, it could be IRQ exception, it could be FIQ exception, it could be the undefined exception, it could be any of the exceptions. So whenever those exceptions are raised, the first thing what the processor does is it actually preserves the address of the next instruction in the appropriate link register. Of course, just don't get confused here. Whenever see next instruction, that is basically with respect to the two instruction, that is software SW instruction or undefined instruction. So software instruction and the undefined instruction, only these two instructions, because these two are programmer only writes it. The programmer only writes it. Programmer writes the software interrupt instruction. So he only interrupts through the software mode, and through whenever that happens, so you just have to switch to the next instruction. But whereas with respect to the other instructions like the something prefetch abort, okay, so prefetch abort, PABT exception, or some data abort exception happens, when these kinds of exception happen, at that time actually these exception, it has to return back to this instruction only. That is what you just have to keep in mind. So it has to return back to this instruction, it doesn't have to return back to the next instruction, because software interrupt exception that is thrown, you programmer has written the software interrupt exception. So after software interrupt exception, if some add instruction is written, then after executing this instruction, the programmer has to keep on continuing from the next instruction. Whereas prefetch abort, data abort, or any of the other maybe it could be the FIQ, okay, so maybe or IRQ, okay, if these kind of exceptions are thrown, at that time actually the offset address varies, okay, I mean the return address varies. So that is what I just wanted to mean here. So it preserves the address of the next instruction in the appropriate link register. Why link register has to be done? Of course, what is the register that you have it here? It is R14. R14 is always link register, and of course what do you have for the PC? That is R15, okay, and the process is always in the ARM state whenever it is handling an exception. So it always preserves the address because you want to return back. When you want to, why do you want to preserve the address of the next instruction in the appropriate link register? If you don't preserve the address of the next instruction in the appropriate link register, see what happens. See, for example, software interrupt exception is written, add instruction is the next instruction. This is the normal execution of the instruction. When software interrupt exception is raised here, when software interrupt instruction is written here, it goes to the what kind of mode? I think it is maybe SVC mode, supervisor mode. From the supervisor mode, vector address, it picks up the branching address to the SVC handler. So it goes to the SVC handler, it executes at interrupt service routine, whatever the instructions are there, it gets executed, it comes back. So when it wants to return, it doesn't have to return this to this instruction, it wants to return the next instruction, but it has to know where it wants to return, isn't it? How does the processor know where it wants to return? That is what you do it actually. You just actually preserve the address of the next instruction in the appropriate link register. So LR, what happens here? This is similar to the branch instruction that we have. Branch with a link instruction. So software instruction is similar to the branch with link instruction. There is no difference in that one. So SW instruction is similar to the branch with link instruction. Whenever this happens, so that what do you store here? So PC, you copy PC, okay. Of course, that next instruction, address of the next instruction, that you just copy to the link register. Of course, PC plus 4 is stored here, okay, don't get confused here. So LR PC is stored here, PC plus 4 because PC, the next instruction, let me write it this instruction, that instruction that is add. So this is, if this is PC, so PC plus 4 is this one. So that is PC plus 4 add instruction is stored in the link register, address of the add instruction that is stored in the link register. So similarly, actually you just want to copy the CPSR also into the appropriate SPSR. because if you don't copy what all status flags got updated, what all modes you were there, okay, that you have to know it, isn't it? So you have to know which mode you were there before entering into the supervisor mode. So all those things that you have to know it. So that's why definitely actually copy the CPSR into the SPSR. So next, forces the CPSR. After you do this one, what happens here? You just actually force the CPSR mode into the depends on the exception. Now what is CPSR storing here? Earlier, if you just assume that it was in the some user mode, okay, it was in the user mode, suddenly actually switch from user mode to the supervisor mode. So that definitely saves CPSR into the SPSR. So in the SPSR, you know that actually you are in the user mode before you enter into supervisor mode because of the entry of the software interrupt exception. What you do, you force the CPSR mode to a value that depends on the exception. Now since software interrupt exception is raised, what will CPSR mode be stored? CPSR mode will be containing the mode bits that you have, the 5-bit mode bits that will be containing the, instead of user mode you will have the SVC mode, isn't it? So that the SVC mode will be copied to the CPSR. So the mode 5 bits, the SVC, whatever the bits 5-bit value, that will be put up in the CPSR. That you can just look into the material what I had provided earlier. And so what are those mode bits that you have? So that will, for the SVC, that will be stored in the 0 to 4 bit of the CPSR. Now after that one you have to branch, na? So how do you branch that one? From the vector table, that is what you have it. This is already discussed here. It forces the PC to fetch the next instruction from the relevant exception vector. So that is what it happens. Since software interrupt exception have considered here, so it just actually switches from the SWI, whatever it is there, from the SWC handler, software interrupt exception, SVC handler. From the SVC handler it switches to this, any of the starting address that is written for the SVC handler. Okay, so that is what it happens here. Now this is, of course, now what happens? Very simple, entering an exception. So it just actually preserves the address of the next instruction, copies the CPSR into the appropriate SPSR, forces the CPR to the relevant exception, PC to fetch the next instruction from the relevant exception vector. Okay, of course in this one also you depending on that one, depending on what kind of exception is thrown, you just clear the, of course you these interrupt flags I bit and the F bit what you have. This I bit and the F bit what you have, they are basically actually disabled. You just disable this one, I bit and the F bit, depending on what kind of exception is thrown. That is also done before you enter an exception. So whenever reset exception is raised, then what you do here, you can just observe here, the I bit and the F bit, they are disabled here. I mean, okay, so whenever I say I bit and the F bit they are disabled, means of course I bit is enabled and F bit is enabled. This means what flag is that is interrupt request. Interrupt request is disabled. This one, what is disabled? FIQ is disabled. Okay, so sometimes I might use like disabling I bit and the F bit, but don't get confused here. So I bit is basically you are setting this one, but you are disabling the IRQ flag and FIQ fast interrupt request. Okay, so those two pins you disable. So that is what you do it here. When before, of course I have not written here, that is also generally done. You just actually set those flags, so you enable those bits. This is what you say, you enable those bits depending on what kind of exception is thrown here. Okay, because nesting of exceptions you don't want to usually you do that one, but whenever reset exception is thrown, you disable both the I bit and the F bit. So whenever data about still you just you don't disable the fast interrupt request flag, so you still make sure that FIQ is not disabled. That's why you are not enabling the F bit here. But fast interrupt request, whenever exception is raised, both you enable the I bit and the F bit. Now because interrupt request, again I bit is enabled but F bit is not enabled. So this is what you do it here. Along with that, you can just write it here. Now of course when you are leaving an exception, this is important. You enter the exception, but when you want to leave the exception also some procedure has to be done. When you want to, where you want to leave the exception, you leave the exception from the interrupt service routine. This is what you have to keep in mind. From the ISR only you leave the exception. From the interrupt service routine, you come back and then answer the calls here. So whatever you do, so you just actually move the LR minus and offset to the PC. Move the LR minus and offset to the PC. What is that LR minus and offset to the PC? This we'll just look into it in the next slide. But definitely actually whatever that is LR minus offset. So that offset address we'll just look into it in the next slide. But you have to move, just one thing what to be understand here, link register is copied back to the PC. You can just observe we have written earlier here, PC is copied back to link register, because starting the return address you have to know. The return address where it is stored, return address stored in link register. So that's why again you copy the return address from link register to the program counter. Here you are storing the program counter because program counter is having the address of the next instruction, that is stored in the link register. Whereas in here, when you are leaving an exception from the interrupt service routine, you have to know where you want to return back. So how do you know where you want to return back? By actually copying the link register back to the program counter, because link register what is stored here? Link register is stored this one, because PC is copied back to link register, it is holding the return address. So this return address where it is stored in the link register, it is copied back to PC. Of course with the offset here, that we'll discuss in the next slide. So along with that one, what you want to copy back? You want to copy back the SPSR also, because you want to know, you want to return back to which mode you are before you service the interrupt or service the exception. Whenever you service any interrupt, you are in separate modes there. So what mode you are in, what all flags were set in before answering the exception. So you just want to remember, I mean you have a brain, you remember, you have memory, you remember. So this processor wants to remember where, what it wants to come back. So which mode you are there, or which address, from which address I was executing particular instruction. So all those things actually return address is stored in LR, and the modes that will be stored in SPSR, that will be copied back to CPSR. Okay. Now this is what we have, clear the interrupt disable flags that we set on entry. Of course it is not written here, kindly make a note here. All actually is, okay, let me write it here. You can just write it here. Set the interrupt disable flags. Okay, set the interrupt disable flags. Okay, maybe you can just actually put up this one in the somewhere third slot here, and this you can just put up fourth, and this you can just make it 5. Okay, set the interrupt disable flags and just clear those all flags, because when you clear, what happens? So this means what is cleared here? What is cleared here? I bit is cleared along with F bit is cleared. When I bit is cleared, what happens? When I bit is cleared means basically you are when I bit is set, you are disabling interrupt request flag. When F bit is set means you are disabling the FIQ flag. Okay, so whenever actually you clear that one means this is made 0, this is made 0. When both are made 0 means you are enabling those flags again. When both are enabled means they are not disabled, which is equivalent to they are getting enabled. When they have got enabled, which means that you can, any of the low priority interrupts can be raised through IRQ pin, any of the high priority interrupts can be raised through FIQ pin, because that has to be allowed. You just disabled here by enabling the bits here, so that nesting of the exceptions is not allowed. Okay, because whatever the high priority exceptions, they just disable, you are not allowed, because I am having high priority. For example, reset exception. Okay, so these are the steps which are followed while entering an exception. These are the steps which are followed while leaving an exception. Okay, so let us actually look back to this what I said, the link register based addresses, because when you want to return back, what are the addresses that is stored? See, one thing what you have to keep in mind, see, just observe, of course reset exception LR is not defined only. This is one thing, special thing. This is not at all defined because it starts from the 0 vector address. So LR is not defined on reset here. but when it just actually starts from the reset means when you press the reset button, when its power is turned on, so it starts from initial code. So that's why LR is not defined for reset exception, whereas for other exception LR is defined here. For example, you can just look at the software interrupt exception and the undefined instruction. This is basically a programmer writes here. So whenever actually programmer only writes here, one thing what you have to keep in mind is that, so whatever the return address, that always points to the next instruction. Just keep this in the mind. It points to next instruction after the software instruction as well as the undefined instruction. Whereas with respect to this prefetch abort and the data IRQ abort and the FIQ abort, you can just look into this one, all these exception. See, first let me actually look into this. Okay, first let me look at this data abort and prefetch abort. This is better way of understanding. Okay, so here what happens is that it points the instruction that caused the data abort exception, and it points the instruction that caused the prefetch abort exception. Okay, so here what, see, FIQ and then prefetch abort and the data abort, these two exceptions, that is PABT and the DABT, these two exceptions were caused because they were caused by the instruction itself. They were caused by the instruction, that you have to understand. They were caused by the instruction. Why they were caused by the instruction? One was while prefetching the instruction. See, you have three stages. One is prefetch, another one is decode. Of course, prefetch is fetch also, some people say. Fetch, decode and execute. See, fetch to decode it goes, decode to execute. Three pipeline stages that you have it. Okay. So fetch to decode. So what happens? Prefetch means fetching the instruction. Whenever it fetches the instruction, of course instruction is fetched before it goes for the decoding. So it stands here. So whenever it stands here, this is PC, the PC, this is PC plus 4 here for the decoding stage. For the executing stage, what do you have here? PC plus 8 here. Okay. So fetch, and then at the entrance of the decoding stage, you have PC plus 4 because the instruction has to be decoded. So a prefetch, a instruction access memory violation, when it happens, when the processor comes to know that the access instruction memory access violation has happened because of this, that's why prefetch abort exception is thrown. At that time PC would have got incremented by 4, that is PC plus 4. Now when it wants to return back to the same instruction, because prefetch abort exception is thrown because of various instructions. When that instruction, it has to return back to the same instruction. There is no point in going back to the other instruction, isn't it? Because it has happened because of the same instruction, you return back to the same instruction after executing the service interrupt routine for the prefetch abort exception. So when you return back, you make sure that you return to the same instruction. When you return back, see, PC plus 4 is there, and that's why link register you subtract minus 4 here, so that minus 4 and the plus 4 gets cancelled. Same PC, it will have be having the link register. That's why actually LR minus 4 is written for the return address. Similarly for the data abort, you can just see it here. What is written for the data abort? Data abort, it is written LR minus 8. Why it is written LR minus 8 here? See, data abort, why LR minus 8 is written? Because data abort exception is thrown only during the execution stage. When the execution stage, at the execution stage, what will be your PC address? That is PC plus 8. Because data instruction, first you fetch it. Data, the transfer, whatever that you have to do from register to memory or memory to register, that you come to know while in the execution stage. At that time PC would have got incremented by 8 here. That's why PC plus 8. So when you return back, you have to subtract that LR, you have to subtract 8 from link register, so that you get, see, plus 8 minus 8 gets cancelled, and this link register will be pointing to PC, so that you can come back to the same instruction which caused the data abort exception. That's why LR minus 8 address, you just copy it to the PC. Whenever you link register LR minus 8, first PC plus 8 you copy. Of course, what you have to do, LR minus 8 should be copied to the PC. Okay, so LR minus 8 when you copy to the PC, which is PC plus 8. So finally you are copying LR to the PC only. So that is what you do, LR minus 8. Okay, similarly what happens actually for the FIQ exception and the IRQ exception? This is nothing is there. It just actually returns from the FIQ handler. Whenever you want to return from the IRQ handler and the FIQ handler, one thing what you have to understand here is that this PC would have got, because fetching and the decoding, whenever decoding that instruction only, at that time only PC would have got incremented by 4. It is similar to the prefetch abort exception, PC plus 4. So that's why here same way LR minus 4 is to be done here. Okay, so that's why LR minus 4 you put the return address so that you come back properly from the FIQ handler or the IRQ handler. So there is no difference here. All these three things, they remain the same thing, that is they will be at the starting address of the decoding stage before actually they get interrupted and go to the FIQ handler and then FIQ handler and then return address. So the same instruction. See, one thing what you have to understand, that instruction it will come back here, because FIQ and IRQ, what you have to understand, they are basically the priority wise interrupts. Priority wise interrupts. Here priority wise interrupts, whatever it is there, that for example for the FIQ it is high priority interrupt, for the IRQ it is low priority interrupt. Okay, so that they are the external interrupts. These two are the external interrupts. Okay, so these two are the, let me write it here, EI, which means that external interrupts. And data abort and the prefetch abort, they are thrown by the instructions. So these are thrown by the processor itself. Okay, so processor actually throws this exception. Okay, I'm very sorry. Processor actually throws this exception, that is data abort exception as well as the prefetch abort exception. This FIQ and the IRQ, they are the external interrupts that you get it, whereas the prefetch abort and the data abort, they are the exceptions which are thrown by the processor because of some memory access violations happen. Sometimes actually the if instruction access memory access violation happen, then prefetch abort exception is thrown. Whenever data memory access violations happen, then data abort exception is thrown. So okay, so that is why, whereas software interrupt and the undefined instruction exceptions, they are there because of because the programmer itself has written that one. Okay, programmer itself has written software interrupt instruction. Of course, we look into this interrupt instruction later on. Now he has purposefully written the software interrupt and has thrown the exception. That's why he points the next instruction, because after completion anyhow he has thrown the exception. You complete that interrupt service routine, don't come back to the same instruction, you go back to the next instruction. That's why these two instructions you go back to the next instruction, whereas this one you point back to the same instruction, that is data abort and the prefetch abort. You point back to those instructions because those instructions have caused the memory access violations. Okay, either it is instruction or the data. Whereas these two, some normal instructions it would be executing, add instruction it could be executing. Before actually you can just observe here. See, when I said in the last video that it completes its execution. So one thing what you have to understand is that whenever some FIQ exception is thrown here, it will immediately suspend its execution and then go and then answers the FIQ exception. So when it comes back to the same instruction here. Okay, so of course it return address from the FIQ handler. Similarly, what you have, it returns address from the IRQ handler. Okay, so what you have to understand here is that this IRQ and the FIQ, it disturbed the normal execution of the instruction. So that instruction was not executed. So let me take it here. So for example, I said that actually in most of the cases the execution of the instruction is completed, but certain times actually it is not done, because you have to consider the high priority interrupt request, that is what external interrupt. So whenever actually FIQ or the IRQ exception is raised, at that time, for example some add instruction is getting done. Before actually add instruction is completed, some FIQ exception or the IRQ exception is raised. At that time, after servicing this one, see, whenever this instruction, of course it is executed, anyhow it is fetched here, it doesn't have to go for the execution, it comes back. So what is stored here is that PC plus 4, that is fetch, decode, execute. So fetch, decode, execute. So fetching is PC, decoding anyhow PC is incremented by 4, it would have gone to the next instruction. Okay, at that time it would have gone to the next instruction. At that time some FIQ exception is raised. It would have got executed, means it would have come to the next instruction. So still it is in the decoding, even though it would have gone to the execution step also, but it would have not completed that one. It would have completed means it would have been PC plus set. At that time actually it would have gone to next instruction. At that time if it is raised, then it's not a problem. But if this instruction is getting still it is fetched and decoded, at that time actually PC plus 4, still PC is incremented by 4. At that time when exception is raised, so return address it has to be LR minus 4. So what do you mean by that one? You complete the execution of this instruction. So that is what you mean by this one, means when the instruction whatever that is being done, so when the instruction that is getting executed, okay, so let me just erase this one. Whenever the instruction that is getting executed, still it is getting executed, so it is not actually completed. At that time actually whenever exception is raised, at that time so PC plus 4, so it is not complete, execution is not done, so still it has been decoded. So PC plus 4, so return address it has to be LR minus 4. So LR minus 4, so plus 4 minus 4 gets cancelled. So finally the PC, the link register return address, it will be pointing to the starting address of the instruction. So starting address of this instruction add. Again you fetch this one, again you decode, again you execute. But you do all these things after completion of the, that is any of the FIQ or the IRQ exception is thrown. But in most of the cases the execution is completed. It tries to do that one. But still sometimes when FIQ or the IRQ exception, they are of the high priority. Okay, so particularly FIQ, when that exception is thrown, it definitely completes that exception, then only returns back. So this is how you have the return address. For the reset there is no return address, data about LR minus 8, because it is execution stage. It is in the execution stage only. When it is accessing the data only, it is already in the execution, almost completion. At that time actually the address violations, sorry, data memory access violations occur. That's why it is LR minus 8. Whereas FAQ exception LR minus 4, same thing for the IRQ exception, same thing for the prefetch about exception. Whereas these two exceptions, it is LR, means just returns the next address of the software interrupt instruction, means LR will contain, definitely it will be PC plus 4 only. So PC plus 4 it will so it is next instruction that will be stored. So PC plus 4 stored into the LR. So when it returns from the exception, that will be copied, LR will be copied to the PC, and definitely it will be pointing towards the next instruction after the software interrupt instruction or the undefined instruction. So this is what you have to just understand, why LR minus 8 is there, why this is for LR minus 4 for the other 3 exceptions, why LR is there for the other 2 exceptions. Okay, so this is with respect to the exception handling, as well as the exception handlers, vector table, and then you have the link register based addresses, as well as we just discussed about entering an exception and leaving an exception, what all different steps are there in entering an exception and leaving an exception. Hope you all got this. Fine. Thank you.